What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pylons with Opinions. I'm your co-host, Fulton Logan, alongside my friend Aaron Hodgson. Today on the agenda, we have Gronk to the Buccaneers, NFL Draft, which may lead to a possible Hodgi rant. But should Jose Bautista reach the level of excellence at Rodgers Center? And what are the best sports cities? So, Hodgi, how we doing?
Not doing too bad, my friend. It's a beautiful day out here on the east coast of Halifax, Nova Scotia. As this coronavirus peaks, I think I'm hitting my peak of boredom, trying to find new things to do around the house, new things to try out, because, I never thought I'd hear the day that I said, but I'm really getting fucking sick of video games nowadays. So this is actually crazy. I've actually started reading.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a day I never thought I would ever see.
That's a day I never thought I'd ever see the day of, that I would pick up a book and happily read it. But a couple of years ago, my parents got me the Lone Survivor book. That was actually written by the Navy SEAL.
Right on.
So
it's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie. And I must say, I quite enjoyed the book so far. I'm only on the second chapter, but like the details.
Well, when you're done with it, hand it over.
Yeah, like the details in this book are way better than the movie. I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but
you can kind of put more detail into a book.
Yeah,
than a movie, I would think.
I guess I found like a new hobby that I actually enjoy, which is reading. So you never know, might pass some more time doing this. My dad actually walked into my room not too long ago. I was sitting on my bed reading with my TV off, and he asked who the fuck I was.
Yeah. Who are you, and what have you done with my son, Aaron?
Exactly, yeah. That's not a thing I do very much, but like I said, trying to pass time as I'm peaking in boredom as COVID-19 peaks around here, so.
Well, as a Pats fan, talking to a Packers fan, I'm actually really excited for today's episode.
Yeah, like you said in the opening, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, even though
finally
there's no sports going on.
Sports talk.
There's some sports topics finally. We had the draft this weekend, which, like you said, there's a possible rant coming from me because I'm not a happy Packers fan at all. But yeah, there's lots to get into, so might as well just jump right into it.
I'm a confused Patriots fan. So yeah, like you said, let's get right into it. If this is your first time, congratulations. Pylons with Opinions is a weekly podcast where we debate some hot topics in sports and other aspects of life that are completely opinion-based, as we have zero credibility. If participating in the show interests you, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PylonsPod and submit topics and questions that we will answer on the show. Reminder that it's staff parking only outside and violators will be towed. So let's get first order of business here. Gronk to the Buccaneers.
Gronk to the Bucs. That move, I don't know about you, but I really thought Gronk was done, and I'm quite shocked to see that.
I mean, it's kind of like when he signed a contract with the WWE, I was kind of like, so he actually is done with football.
Yeah,
because like when he retired,
done.
When he retired from the Patriots, I was like, he might take a year off, because he took a beating in his career.
Yeah.
And like watching him run near the end of his career was like, you could just tell he was just pieced together by, like you said earlier in the week, he was just pieced together by surgeries. Yep. And it was like, but he was just so big that he was able to like battle through it. But I was like, maybe he takes a year off, but like he's still young and he's still in good shape. So I can see him coming back to the Patriots for like one last kind of run when Brady was near the tail end of his career. Mm-hmm. But like now, I mean, first of all, Brady to the Bucs was a surprise for me that he chose the Buccaneers, because they were kind of like the last team in on the conversation. And then when he went over, I wasn't even thinking, yeah, Gronk's gonna follow him there. Because, to be honest, like, I totally forgot about, like, Gronk could come back if he wanted to. And then when I saw he got traded to the Bucs, I was like, he's retired. But obviously the Pats had, he had one more year on his contract. So the Pats still had control of him for one more year. And when I saw that trade, I was kind of like, this is going to be a fun Tampa team to watch. As like disappointing as it is as a Pats fan, like it was heartbreaking, man. Like to see Brady leave at first, it was kind of like, like the next day I was kind of like just thinking about it, and it was super depressing. But then to see Gronk go with him, it was like, holy fuck, like that really ended the era and ended the dynasty.
Yeah,
it's kind of tough to take in, but then again, like if Gronk does come back and he plays, I think, even though they won't be playing for the Pats, it's still going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah. Watching those guys team up in Tampa, I think it's going to be entertaining. I'm questioning how much of a role he's actually going to play, like how many snaps.
Me too.
He's going to play because Tampa Bay does have a decent tight end, and I think is his name OJ Howard? Is that his name?
I couldn't tell you, dude. Tampa
like
was
that.
Like I did not follow Tampa at all. Like I followed their record, I followed the scores of the games and stuff, but I couldn't tell you. Besides Winston, I couldn't really name a whole lot of players, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's his name. I might be getting it wrong. Anyway, he's actually pretty good tight end. I had him on my fantasy team. Pretty good, reliable tight end. So the fact that they haven't traded him yet, because if I was getting Gronk like 3-4 years ago, I would have traded him instantaneously. Like I would have got rid of him.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering maybe if he's going to be like, because Gronk's always been a really good blocker, so I wonder if he's going to be more of a blocking and then put in for like, fourth quarter,
right?
Like scores tight situations.
Yeah.
Because that's really what he was in New England the last 2 years he was there, right? Like he was kind of like a glorified blocking tight end.
Yep.
And if you needed 1 or 2 big catches out of him, he'd make it.
Yeah, 100%.
But like he wasn't the dominant force that he was in his early years of his career, because like I said to you earlier in this in the week, he's been pieced together. Like his arm is basically bionic when he plays.
It looks illegal, dude.
Yeah,
seeing all
like
the stuff he has braced up on his arm in game.
Yeah,
it looks like it's not even an arm. Like that actually does look bionic.
Yeah, and then like his back too, and just like there's just so many injuries. Like he's had a hell of a career, so I'm wondering how much of a role he's going to play. And I mean, speaking like you said about the WWE, they just lost like 1 million followers, because I mean, who the fuck's watching that right now with no fans? But like Gronk, probably one of their biggest polls is gone now, so that's going to be tough for them to recuperate.
I mean, and it's interesting because I guess there's like a new belt in the WWE, and Gronk has it.
Yeah,
it's a 24/7 belt.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it
seems like an interesting idea.
He has to defend that anytime he's challenged. I guess because I was reading up on it. Like I used to watch WWE as a kid, but like then you find out like it's not like real, and you're kind of like, never mind.
Yeah.
But like, it is kind of interesting, like how he has to. I was reading the article, and if he's challenged at any time, he has to defend that title. So I feel like if he's gonna come back to football, like what's he gonna do? It could be like mid-game, and he gets a call like, "Yo, like John Cena challenged you to 24/7 title. You got to leave your game right now."
I just got a vision in my head, just playing a scenario in my mind where he lays out for a nice catch, and out of nowhere he gets RKO'd. He gets RKO'd by Randy Orton, and you hear that the announcer's like, "RKO out of nowhere." I was just like, how great would that be to watch a fucking football game?
Well, I should have known he was going to take the WWE route. Do you remember? It was like, I forget what year it was, when he like jumped on the head of a Dolphins player or a Bills player.
Oh,
do you remember when he did that? He was like frustrated because he thought it should have been like pass interference, and it didn't get called. And it was like a rookie on the Bills or the Dolphins was like laying down on the ground, and Gronk, I think it was the Bills. Gronk like top rope moved him. He like, it was a jumped on him and like elbowed him in the head.
It was a textbook elbow drop if I've ever seen it. Like,
I should have known he was going to sign with the WWE.
And just even the fact of like how much of a character he is, it seems like a great move for him to go somewhere like that. Who's like, I'm not going to say they need the following because they are like a mega corporation and like huge, but like that, having a name like Gronk on your roster, that's pretty huge.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And you can, and like, I feel like when the rumor started that he wanted to to either like act or be a wrestler. Like all that hype that led up to it, and then he actually signed a contract with the WWE. I think that probably brought over even more fans because they were like, "Oh shit, he actually did it."
Yeah, I think that brought a huge following to the WWE, but obviously they're gonna leave now because who the fuck wants to watch that without Gronk there?
Yeah, well, just back to him to the Bucs. Brady he has a lot of options now, and you think back to last season for the Bucs. Did they finish 8-8?
Yeah, they finished 500, I believe.
Okay, and that's with Winston throwing
30
not only 30 touchdowns, but 30 picks. So, and 30 picks and 6 pick sixes. So
That's
if
fucked.
you're let's say Winston even threw 30 touchdowns and let's say 18 to 20 interceptions. Tampa Bay is probably a playoff team last year.
Yeah, I could see that.
Without Gronk, without Brady, without, I can't say his first name,
And Dominic Sue.
Yeah, Sue, okay. So without like big names like that, they were probably a playoff team if you cut Winston's picks by like a third.
Yeah, or at least on like right on the coattails. Like, just barely missing at the least.
Because, I mean, I looked at their scores. Because once Winston threw like 30 and 30, I was like, holy shit, how did they finish 8-8? But I looked at the scores of their games, and like, even the games they lost, they were losing by a touchdown or a field goal or, like a last-minute touchdown by the other team. Like, they were in every single game. So it makes you wonder, like, if Winston doesn't throw 30 picks, and if he doesn't throw 6 pick sixes, like if he threw, like, I don't know, 20 picks and maybe like 2 pick sixes, that could be like a huge difference in their record. It could go from 8-8 to like 10-6, maybe 11-5.
Yeah.
But it was just like to bring in Brady and Gronk. I think they're going to be a powerhouse in the NFC.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is definitely going to improve this year, and I think they might give New Orleans a run for their money for sure. I'm not too worried about Carolina or what's the other team in their division? Atlanta. I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, no, Atlanta dropped off after blowing a 28-3 lead.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. That'll develop yips for sure.
Yeah, but I think Tampa Bay is going to be in the running for one of the better teams this year in the NFC.
Which is nice.
I think,
nice to get like other teams in the mix every now and then, because football's kind of predictable when you're coming into the season. Like, the Patriots are going to be strong. Like before this year, like the past like 10 years, you're like, all right, the Pats are going to win their division, the Bills are going to be second, and the Dolphins and the Jets are going to fight it out for third and fourth.
They're going to fight it out for whoever gives a fuck.
Yeah, and then Pat Mahomes comes on the scene. You're like, all right, so Kansas City's going to lose to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, and we'll go from there. So like, it's kind of always been like a predictable lead. Like you start calling the Super Bowl the Tom Brady Invitational. Like, come on, you could never pick a different sport. Well, maybe like Golden State with basketball when they had their kind of like dynasty going, Golden State Invitational. But football was like, on the AFC side anyway, was usually pretty predictable.
Yeah, the NFC's a little less. Oh, sorry, got me going. Big night last night, doing nothing. But the NFC's a little less predictable than the AFC, because the AFC, like you said, you got the Pats, who are there almost every year. Kansas City nipping at their feet. Then you got some other decent teams like Baltimore, Houston. Well, not Houston anymore, but you had some teams that were kind of nipping around, but it was always usually the Pats.
Yeah.
But the NFC I find the NFC has a lot more stronger teams than the AFC. Even the AFC is improved. I still think the NFC is a much better conference.
I think the AFC is a lot more like teams. Throw. Like the NFC is a bigger the NFC is a bigger like throw game. Like, I feel like they have QBs that throw downfield a lot more than the AFC.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. The NFC is a little bit more physical too. Like,
It's
there's
kind
a
of
lot
like in
more.
hockey, dude. Like, you got the Western Conference, the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is usually pretty predictable, like, for the first, like, 5 playoff teams. Like, you look at, like, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, Washington, and,
Pittsburgh.
like, Pittsburgh. So, like, those teams are usually a lock for the playoffs, or they're always in the hunt. But then the West is, like, kind of, it cycles through their good teams.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the West too, like, or the West and East in hockey. Like, the East I find is a lot more skill based, except for Boston, and then the West you got a lot more heavy, big teams that will try to ram physicality down your throat.
The big bad West.
Yeah, exactly. And you got teams like like St. Louis, and you can even throw Dallas into that. And
it's becoming like a way
Vegas.
more. Yeah. Oh, 100%. And like, hockey has become a lot more skilled than physical. Like, it used to be like a really physical team. Like, every team would be physical, and then you'd have like 1 or 2 skilled guys.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's more like you'll have maybe one kind of enforcer, and then everyone else is kind of skilled. Like, St. Louis is the first team that I can think of in a long time that wasn't exactly like skilled, but they played more of like a physical game, and like they had a lot of low scoring games. Rather than like, I mean, you look at like Washington versus Vegas, there's not a whole lot of like enforcers on either team there. You still have some
Ryan
physicality.
Reeves in that one.
Yeah, Ryan Reeves and like Tom Wilson maybe. But
yeah,
like,
that's it. That's really the last almost of the enforcers.
Yeah, but then you have like St. Louis winning the cup, and like they were just a big team.
Yeah, like St. Louis, they were. Well, it helps having a goalie like Jordan Binnington coming in and being as hot as he was.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere too.
But like St. Louis, their roster was almost made up of a lot of people that were like almost forgotten and kind of just pushed away in other organizations. Yeah. Like, you think of someone like a depth player like Tyler Bozak. Or David Perron, or even you can even throw Ryan O'Reilly into that. Like, he was kind of pushed away out of Colorado, didn't want to be in Buffalo, and then he found a home in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And it was just a bunch of like old vets, I wouldn't say old vets, but like veterans of the league who know how to play. No, they're not a young, fast team, but they ran physicality down your throat.
Yeah.
They played down in the corners and beat and banged and waited for their opportunity, and it helps to do that. Yeah, exactly. And it helps to do that when you have a goalie like Binnington that you can rely on like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just beat and bang, and then, if they do happen to get past you, you have a goalie of that caliber, backing you up.
Right.
And that's the kind of like that's the hockey I miss. Like, I don't get me wrong, I like the skill. Like, I love watching fast-paced skill. Like, it's insane seeing how some of these guys can move so quick, and they're making moves, passes, and stuff like that. Stuff that I would never even see.
Right.
But I do miss like watching teams like LA when they won the cup, how physical they were, and like I just miss that, like having a couple enforcers on your team with like a good mix of skill and enforcement.
It kind of like
I miss that part of hockey.
Me too, because it kind of leads to like I don't want to say softer hockey, because when you're going like the faster they go,
you can say it. It's soft as baby shit.
You're gonna get smoked. So it's definitely, but like at the same time, when you're like, I mean, again, I've never played hockey, but I'm just thinking, if I'm skating and I'm flying and I get smoked, like if you don't even know what happened, like you're probably bitching to the ref for like some kind of call. Because like back when everyone was physical, like you could lay a guy out, and like sometimes there'd be like a guy, if it was dirty, a guy would come and like stand up for his teammate, try to fight you. But like I've seen hits from like the 90s where a guy gets blown up and the play just keeps going.
Yeah.
You don't see that ever now. As soon as a guy gets blown up now, the rest, like, it's like a line brawl.
Yeah, and that's really, I find that kind of actually annoying, watching like a good clean hockey hit get thrown, and a guy, he might just get, knocked over, or he gets annihilated, and it starts a brawl. Like,
and this is I get
standing up for your teammates, stuff like that. Like, I love that. But, like, there's no need. He throws a good, clean hit on your teammate. Your teammate had his head down, wasn't paying attention. That's on him.
Yeah. No, and this is a topic for another day, but, like, then the refs go to, like, the replay room, and they zoom in on, like, what made contact where from each player. Yeah. And it's like, dude, you can find something dirty from a hit if you zoom in on, like, a guy's shoulder and he makes, like, contact with the helmet. Like, that, even if he doesn't drive through his head and he just makes, like, incidental contact with the head, they're like, oh, that's like a 10-game suspension. He touched his head. But it's like, yeah, because you're zooming in and doing slow-mo. Like that. So the topic would be, like, how much replays and, like, review is way too much.
Yeah, that's actually what I was just about to say. We can maybe even talk about that next week or the week after, just how much replay is too much, because I think there's too much replay in sports. Like, you pay these refs a good amount of money, to trust their judgment in games, and, they spend, this is like their career, right? That's what they do for a living, so they know what they're doing. And, like, if they take a look at a replay really quickly if they're not too sure, but, like, having a replay on everything is way too much. Like, it's their job to judge, where the principal point of contact was in a hit. Was it on the head? Was it through the chest? Did he hit his chest and ride up into his head? Like, what's going on? Like, that's the ref's judgment to make.
Yeah.
And I think it would just be more enjoyable to watch if you just, like, tone the replays down just a little bit in most sports. And just, let the refs do their job. That's what they're there for. And plus, heckling refs is so much fun. Who doesn't love a good heckle of a ref?
Yeah, it creates, like, a whole other, like, controversy within the game. So
yeah, so I mean, we kind of went down a different road than Gronk to the Bucs, but yeah, we'll save that replay for another day.
Yeah, that would actually be an interesting conversation. But getting back to football here, the draft this weekend. So I mean, no surprises. First overall, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
To Cincinnati. So sorry, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, have fun there have fun with AJ Green on the injured reserve, and your defense. The only stop they can make is a penalty flag, and everything else that could possibly go wrong with the football organization. Sorry, Cincy fans, but I don't know if any of you listen, but...
when was their last, like, good season?
Cincinnati, I think they played Pittsburgh in the wild card, I want to say 3 to 4 years ago, and they had the lead on the last drive of the game. Pittsburgh had the ball, Cincinnati had the lead, and I want to say they took 4 penalties on that drive, and Pittsburgh ended up winning.
Right, yeah. Okay.
And it wasn't like controversial calls, like they were blatant.
Right.
Pass interference, roughing, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So no surprises there for Joe Burrow. Before you get into your Packers rant, I just wanted, so the Bills drafted Jake Fromm.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Cuz I like Allen as a QB.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of upside.
I don't know if I haven't seen, like, the whole, like, the talk around it that much. I just saw it last night when I was scrolling through, like, Twitter or whatever, and I saw that they drafted Jake Fromm, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No.
Trade bait, maybe, or...
Yeah, maybe just because you're going young with your team, so you want to bring in, like, a competent backup. Like, he's got to understand that Josh Allen he's the starter, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to be on the bench unless you're giving Josh Allen a window of time, but that doesn't really seem smart seeing how young he is. So I don't know, maybe they just want a young QB tandem, and maybe develop him and then trade him off. That's the only thing I can really see.
Could be like Jimmy G at New England. Yeah,
which is what the Packers should do with their first round pick. Get him the fuck out of Green Bay is what they should do. Oh my god, dude! I know I've mentioned a couple times that in certain situations where I've wanted to Gronk spike my phone, but this may have been the biggest one. I remember I was laying in bed watching TV, and I got the doo-doo-doo-doo. And I was like, oh, what's Packers pick is in. I look at it, and I just, are you fucking kidding me? Not only did they pick a quarterback in the first round, which I'm not going to be naive. I know Rodgers is 36. He's getting up there in age. He's mentioned many times that, he can see the 18th hole. There's
he still
more
moves
years.
Pretty good, though.
Yeah, he still moves pretty good, and he said that there's more years behind him than there are in front of him. Like, I get that, and that's reasonable for a 36-year-old QB to be saying. Like, obviously they're not going to be playing for a crazy amount more time, but right. He's still got 4 years on his contract.
Yeah,
and like you just said, he still moves pretty well, and I still think, honestly, I'd put him top 3, top 4 QB in the league still. Like, he's still up there in skill level. Like, he can still sling the ball. He can still get out of the pocket. And plus, he's got that old man knowledge right now. Like, he's got that veteran knowledge that, younger players don't have.
I think that's kind of where they were thinking. Develop, like, Rodgers, like you said, he's getting up there in age. So if he can teach this first-round pick by the Packers, just, like, if he can mentor him, then, I mean, there's a bright future in Green Bay.
And
there.
I think I said it to you after they picked him. I love this pick in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it wasn't what they needed. It wasn't. They didn't address the needs.
So let's do
the.
Let me give you these stats because I heard this the other day. So for one, you're 1 win away from the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know you got annihilated. We got annihilated in the championship game. We gave up 189 yards before contact rushing in the NFC Championship game. So what do you think your main keys should be? Let's draft some athletic defenders. Let's bolster the defensive line. Let's get some linebackers, stuff like that. Like let's improve that. Also, you have Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones on your offense. You need another wide receiver. You let go of Geronimo Allison in free agency. Alan Lazard could be a good wide receiver, but you don't know. So let's go out and get another wide receiver. Free agency, they shit the bed in receiving. Also let go of their tight end. So they needed a tight end. So they shit the bed on that. Shit the bed on defense. Then we get to the draft, and I'm like, okay, there's some studs. And then I saw a thing about the Packers possibly trading up. I was like, yep, I love it. Trade up, let's get a stud. Let's get a stud receiver or a defender. Let's do it. And they trade up from 30 to 26 to draft a quarterback. That nobody else was taking 4 picks from them. Nobody between 26 and 30 was drafting this quarterback.
Right.
And, like, I just, like, and I've heard, like, people like Stephen A. and other people that are way smarter and should be talking about this a lot more than I should be, just saying how disgusted Rodgers should be. And I agree. That's a slap in the face.
Yeah. Hey, we're thinking about your replacement rather than the next 4 years. You're not going to have anybody to throw it to.
So yeah, you're thinking 5 years down the road, when last year you were 1 win away from the Super Bowl, and all you need to do is get him some help on offense. Right. Maybe a competent wide receiver too. I know they signed some guy, Devin Funches. He might be okay. Never know. And get some a little bit more defense. And you can legit make a run at the Super Bowl. Like, you have 100%. A legit shot.
Yeah.
Like, you got a good coach that's going to improve. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback. You have I put Devontae in the top 5 as far as wide receivers are concerned. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a stud. And you've got a good defense that needs a little bit more improvement.
Just a little bit, dude. They've come around a lot.
They've come around. Like, their pass rush is lethal. Like, Za'Darius and Preston Smith, the Smith bros, they're nice. I love them. But no, you start looking for 5 years down the road when you could legit win next year. And to come their next pick, second round, what do they pick? A running back. They already have Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like maybe that's just to get their running back depth, because I know Jones and Williams have both had some injury troubles over the last couple of years. So that pick is not as bad for me. Then
and he's good too.
Yeah, he's not a bad running back.
He's got a lot of power to him, dude. He'll be good.
Yeah. And then, so we get to the third round, and this is when you start to get to players that you don't really know if they're going to crack it or not. Then you go from the third to the seventh round, they actually pick stuff that could be helpful. So
they drafted a couple tight ends, didn't they?
Yeah, they drafted a tight end, and then drafted a linebacker, some offensive linemen, and a safety. All stuff that you don't even know if these guys are going to crack it, but you pick some useful positions, which you should have picked in the first and second and third round. Right. So I don't know where their GM and head coach's mind is at. I don't know if they want Rodgers out, which I don't know why the fuck they'd want that. But we could see, like, I know when Rodgers was drafted, if you've seen anything of like the documenting, the switch from Favre to Rodgers, that there was a lot of I don't know if the right word is animosity between the two of them. There wasn't a great relationship. Like,
right.
Favre knew Rodgers was there to replace him. Favre didn't want to be replaced. He wouldn't mentor him. He wouldn't do any of that stuff. So you never know. This could be trying to rewrite that narrative.
Right.
And you never know. I mean, Rodgers could turn Jordan Love into a great quarterback. I know a lot of people.
I think he will.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, I heard some analysts say he's similar to Pat Mahomes, which that is a big fucking that's a big name to live up to.
Yeah,
that's a compliment and a half. And also, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him whenever he decides to step in as a starter, because you've gone from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to now Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So right. It's gonna be interesting to say the least, and I'm not gonna take anything away from him getting drafted. I mean, that's a day he's been looking forward to for his whole life. So, right. Obviously, congrats to him for getting drafted. But it's more on Green Bay. I'm just so confused where they're at right now.
Well, that's the thing. I've been seeing all of Green Bay's tweets when they were tweeting out who they draft for the first and second rounds. That's kind of what you just said. Congrats on getting drafted. Just as a Packers fan, I'm not saying I'm not bashing the pick, but it didn't fill the needs. It's one of those picks or I guess their first couple picks were it doesn't fill their immediate needs, but it's a pick where a couple years down the road, you're I'm glad we drafted them. But for right now, you're just going in as a Packers fan, you're looking for another receiver in that first or second round. You're looking for a tight end. You're looking for a little help on defense. And then they go and they draft two players that are both great players. And I think, again, they will be in a few years down the road. It'll be good then. You'll actually see why they did it in a couple years down the road. But for right now, like you said, missing the Super Bowl by one game for obvious positions that you need to improve upon, and then to not fill that, it just kind of
it's a slap in the face.
Exactly, the Packers should be in a win now mentality after missing the Super Bowl by one game. I hate when teams do that. I hate when teams miss the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals or the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals by one game. And then they're just oh, well, we had our shot and that's it. No, you should just improve on the guys you have now and go
exactly.
for it.
You have 4 years right now under contract of one of arguably the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. He has 4 years left on his contract. You should stop. You should not be saying, let's look at the future right now. Save that for 3 years down the road. Look at that 3 years down the road. Start thinking, okay, let's fill the positions. Think about this. Their two best players last year, Rodgers and Aaron Jones. Their first two picks this year were a quarterback and a running back. Yeah. What the fuck? Where the fuck does that add up? 9 plus 10 equals 21? I don't get it. And like you said, you know what? Jordan Love could turn out to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in 5 years. And if he does, I'll eat my words. I'll love it. And I'll eat my words, and it'll be that. But like you said, you're 1 win away. You got 4 years left of one of the best quarterbacks in history on his contract. You should be saying, fuck this. Even trade away your first pick to get a stud.
Right.
Like, trade your first pick for someone who's in the league right now. Upgrade your D. Even you could have traded up to someone like where Dallas picked. And you could have got a wide receiver like CD Lamb.
Yeah.
Who is a stud wide receiver.
Yeah, that was a great pick by Dallas.
Exactly. And you could have picked someone like that, and him being, on the other side of the field, the Devontae Adams, would have been insane to watch. Also, if I was thinking about this the other day, if DeAndre Hopkins was on the market, why the fuck weren't the Packers in on that?
There's a lot of backside to stuff like that, though.
Yeah, like they traded DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson. Like, we could have got rid of our second string offensive lineman for DeAndre Hopkins, and like having Rodgers, Jones, Adams, and Hopkins on the same offense, that's a Super Bowl or bust kind of offense right there.
Yeah, no, I think, and you're bringing up a great point. Like, as a Packers fan, you should be confused as to what the fuck that draft was, and it's honestly like if I was a Packers fan, I'd be questioning my front office right now too. Like, just to come up with an explanation, like, what is your mindset making these picks?
I'll be interested to see what Matt LaFleur and Brian, I'm gonna butcher his last name, Brian Guntkunst, have to say about this.
Right.
I was watching actually a clip of the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you're familiar with that show.
No.
He was a kicker in the NFL, and now he kind of has like a radio show. And he has like a bunch of.
I knew he was a kicker, but I didn't know he had a show.
Yeah, he has a radio show, and he has like a bunch of guys that like sits at like the main desk, and then he has like a bunch of guys that sit around and like feed him information they're seeing on the web and stuff like that.
Right.
And they were doing a show on draft night. One of the guys is he's a huge Packers fan, maybe even bigger than me, which I don't know if that's possible.
Not but that I would know.
He's sitting there, and the pick comes in, and Pat McAfee reads it off, and the guy literally just throws his fucking headphones off and walks out of the booth and stuff like that.
I haven't seen a single Packers fan happy about this about their first couple of picks.
But you never, and I mean, looking at the bright side of this, because that's something we're gonna have to do now. Being podcasters, we're gonna have to look at both sides.
Yep.
You know what? This could be a rewriting of history, because this is almost the exact same thing that happened with Rodgers. People weren't happy with the pick because they already had Favre.
Right.
They didn't draft up to get Rodgers, but it's a quarterback that kind of dropped a little bit in the draft, because I think Jordan Love was high on some people's draft mock drafts.
I'm sure he would have been, yeah.
And so he kind of fell into their lap, which was what happened with Rodgers. And so this could be a rewriting of history, and you never know. Jordan Love could become one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Well, I mean, I hate to make like a Patriots reference here.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But I mean, to think about, Bledsoe was the starting QB in New England, and then they draft Tom in the 6th round, 199th overall, and he goes on to win 6 Super Bowls.
Yep.
That's like...
It's crazy.
So, like, I mean, did it fulfill, like, the Patriots' needs right away? No. But
then
the
again,
future, I don't think any Patriots fan would change that pick if they had the chance.
No. And even at the 6th round, like, you're kind of just taking who's left available on the board, right, almost, because like you're not expecting those people to be studs or
that's Belichick, dude,
become instant starters. But yeah, that's Belichick and his brilliance. Maybe he let his dog pick that. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
Maybe his dog accidentally clicked draft on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And that's what.
Could you imagine the dog sitting at the laptop? And he clicks, he like scrolls down and clicks Tom Brady, and Bill comes back in. What the fuck?
He brought his dog to the draft in whatever year Tom Brady was drafted, and he accidentally dialed Tom Brady's phone number on the phone. and Belichick's, well, fuck, I guess we got to go with him now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think again they were good picks. Like it's not like they took a guy that should have gone in like the last round.
No, God, no.
But
like I said, I love the picks.
The picks are
2
great.
Years.
It just exactly. It didn't fill the needs of a team that just missed the NFC Championship, where QB and running back weren't the issues.
Yeah, and can easily, be back in the conversation. I think they're in the conversation as Super Bowl
They
contenders.
definitely still are in the conversation.
They're definitely still a Super Bowl contender, and I don't know if, it's just if it's more of the GM has trust in the group they already have there to improve and stuff like that. Like that may be the case, and if that is the case, I don't necessarily agree with it, but
right.
I can live with it because I like the group they have. But I would love to hear an explanation on what their mentality is. And you know what? If they make some picks, off season isn't over for a couple more months. Free agency is still going on.
Yeah.
There's still people that want to be traded and don't like their current situation. So you never know. So they could still easily make picks to change my mind. But the first little bit of free agency and into the draft, I'm not exactly clear in understanding on where they want to go.
Right.
Or I am clear that they're thinking about the future when they shouldn't be. But I mean, that's obviously why I'm not paid the big bucks. And that's why I'm here on a podcast with you talking about my uneducated opinions and not being paid millions of dollars to construct a football team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't have the exact knowledge to back it up, but like what you're saying right now is everything I've been saying from Packers fans. So
we can move on before I get more heated and my face gets more red.
That's a Packers fan's perspective of the draft. I'm not even going to touch on like the Pats draft because honestly, like with Belichick as head coach,
drafted a kicker.
Yeah. You're never. Trading your first round pick. I stayed up waiting for it to happen, and then they traded, and I was like, "Fuck!" I stayed up for that, but obviously Belichick has a plan. There's something brewing in New England. There always is, dude. As long as Belichick's there, like you're never gonna have like 6 and 10 seasons with him as head coach. So
Hashtag tank for Trevor.
Exactly. But I don't think they're going to tank. I think they'll still be competitive, but I see it being the Bills' division this year.
Oh, yeah. I think the Bills got that division this year. But it's sad to say that the best news I got throughout the draft was the fact that the 49ers traded Marquise Godwin, Matt Breida, and their offensive lineman retired. That was the best news I got, that the 49ers kind of went down in talent. So
right. They'll still be right up there again, but
their defense is still.
For now, it's good news for you Pack fans.
Yeah.
So our third topic of the day, I got a text from my buddy Chris Evans, and he brought up a really good point, because this is a topic that like no one's really been talking about. You haven't seen it on any sports shows or tweets or anything. This is, should Jose Bautista be put onto the level of excellence at Rodgers Center? So for the people who don't know, for the viewers who don't know, the level of excellence, I can't even say it. It's on the facing of the upper deck at Rodgers Center, and it has the names and numbers of like just big players that have come and gone through the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Like Roberto Alomar,
Roy
Halladay,
Cito Gaston.
Was Roy Halladay on there?
I don't think he's up there
yet. He will be,
but he will be.
Joe Carter's up there.
Yeah, Joe Carter's up there. So it's basically it's the biggest honor you could get from the Toronto Blue Jays organization. So I wanted to ask you, because I had a good chat with Chris about it, but I wanted to see what you were thinking. Should Jose Bautista be put onto the level of excellence?
Absolutely should be.
Yeah.
He was pretty much like the years he was hitting 40, 50 bombs. He was pretty much the only thing keeping that organization relevant.
Right.
Like back in the days when Ricky Romero was their ace, there wasn't a lot of bright side about the Blue Jays, except for Jose.
Right.
And I mean, he was there through the rough times, and he was there through like the runs that they had in those back-to-back years. And I mean, he even just his his legacy moments, like that 3-run shot against Texas.
The bat flip.
I mean, that's going down right now as one of the top Canadian sports moments.
Right.
And I mean, the fact he was just there for so long and put his heart and soul into that organization for so many years, even like he didn't leave when he could have left, when they were that bad. He just easily could have just packed his bags or said, trade me. But no, he didn't. He stuck through it, and stayed, and they got him some help. Yeah. And they went on a little bit of a run. So I absolutely think, yeah, if he's not up there yet, he should absolutely be up there.
Right. I 100% agree. Like you said, like he could have requested a trade. The Blue Jays could have traded him. You know, he's a 6-time All-Star from 2010 to 2016. And the stats he was putting up were ridiculous. He was a power guy. You know, like he wasn't out there to hit for average. He was out there to hit 30 plus home runs and drive in like 100 RBIs. And like the year he was hitting, like he had his 50 home run season, and he was still drawing like an absurd amount of walks, and he had like 100 walk season plus like 41 home runs or something like that, which as a power guy is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And his OPS, which is a huge, I was talking to Ryan Abraham about this actually, because I was talking to him, I was like, I had a friend text me, and he was like ripping on Bautista. He was like, oh, Bautista sucked. Like he hit like 230. And I was like, yeah, but he was a power guy. He was hitting 40 home runs, 30 bombs consistently plus. And so I texted Ryan. I was like, bro, did Jose Bautista suck? And he was like, are you kidding me? Like, and this is coming from a Red Sox fan who does not like the Jays at all. But he said OPS, which is one of the the biggest measurements for a power hitter, which is on-base percentage plus slugging percentage. A normal power hitter is hitting somewhere like 800. Bautista was consistently above 800 and pretty much into like the 900. When he had his like MVP caliber season, his OPS was like 1.054, which is absolutely ridiculous. And to consistently do that on an irrelevant team throughout like the 2000s and the 2010s up until their run in 2015, and to not request, like to want to be there, it's so hard to get superstars to want to come to Toronto for both NBA and MLB.
He was almost like the DeMar of the Blue Jays.
Yeah, exactly. He was there. He wanted to be there, and he was playing like he wanted to be there. Exactly. And he wanted to win too. And that's why, like, I mean, when Donaldson came in 2015, he kind of like took over as the face of the franchise that year. But Bautista that year still had 40 home runs, up near 100 RBI, and was still a big part of that run. And
he was the heart and soul of the team.
He was, yeah, exactly. He was the face of the franchise of the 2010s. He was the heart and soul of it, like you said, and he just wanted to win in Toronto so bad. And I if he's not put up on the level of excellence, like what could he have done?
What is the level of excellence?
Yeah, like what could he have done to be put up there?
Yeah, exactly. If he's not up there, I'll be shocked, because I think he goes down. I think he goes down as one of the best Blue Jays in history.
I agree 100%.
And like if you're getting that thrown around, like people considering you one of the best Blue Jays in history, like you gotta be at least considered for the level of excellence. Like I know there's some names up there like Joe Carter. He didn't play that many years in Toronto, did he? Like he got traded there when they won their back-to-back World Series.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know if he played much more after that.
No, I don't think so either.
And like he's up on the level of excellence, and you're looking at someone like Bautista, who played I want to say the better part of a decade for the Jays. Is that fair
he was?
to say?
He I think was 2010 his first. I think he got traded from the Pirates.
He got traded from the Pirates.
And,
like, he had a broke ass swing.
Yeah, 2000 like 9 or I don't know. 2010 was his big year where he hit like 54 home runs and up over 100 RBIs, and like his average was like 300. So that was a big year. Like that was his like kind of his like the year that started out his whole legacy in Toronto. But like then Chris asked me, he goes, if Bautista doesn't hit that bomb against Texas and he doesn't have the bat flip like that moment, would you still consider him to be level of excellence worthy? Yes. And I think he should. I think he still should be.
I think that was that bat flip against Texas was his career defining moment.
Yeah.
Like that defined who Jose Bautista was to the Blue Jays. But if you take that away, I mean, stats wise, that's only 1 home run and 4 RBIs.
Yeah. But
obviously, if you look at the moment in Canadian sports, that's way bigger than that. So I say that's his career defining moment. But if you were to take that away, yes, I still absolutely think he should be on the level of excellence.
Yeah. No, 100%. I agree. I think he's done enough. Like, and then we got into like, what about Encarnacion? But like,
yeah, I could put him up there.
I don't. That's tough.
He was kind of like Robin to Batista's Batman almost, if that makes sense. Like that's the way I kind of look at it. Like he was the Pippin to
MJ,
Batista's Jordan.
I think. I wouldn't put Encarnacion up there because I mean he did great things too, like the wild card game walk-off home run, and I loved Encarnacion when he was playing there too. But you can't just like throw around guys and chuck them on the level of excellence. I think Bautista, if I was going to pick between the two, it would definitely be Jose.
Yeah, I mean, he did play a lot. Encarnacion, I remember he started out as a third baseman for the Jays. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he went third base, first base, and then like pretty much just
it's kind of like... Yeah, so... and plus, he's still playing. Like, I don't know if this is kind of weird, but like... Bautista almost... Like, he had like a little short stint after he was done with the Jays, but like, he was done
around.
after that.
Yeah, no, that was the end of it.
Whereas Encarnacion is still like consistently playing, and the fact he's also playing for the Yankees.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like he didn't like. It was like Bautista almost played his career with the Jays, whereas Encarnacion is still going. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
that's obviously probably not going to play a part. No. But like, it's just like Bautista gave his heart and soul to the Jays for so many years when they were bad.
Yeah, he was dedicated to Toronto.
Yeah, I'm not saying Encarnacion was not dedicated to Toronto. Obviously, he was here for a lot of years that weren't good either.
Right.
But he wasn't the face of the franchise when the organization was in the shitter.
No, exactly. So yeah, I would definitely say that Bautista deserves a spot in the level of excellence.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we can throw up a poll for that one too.
Yeah,
see what people think about that. See what our listeners think.
So our last topic, you can just choose your favorite or talk about just a topic in general if you want, but the best sports cities.
There's a couple that I'm obviously going to be a little bit biased, but I think Green Bay's got a great sports city. A small little town. Or I wouldn't say small little town, but like the oldest arena in the league. Fans own the team, stuff like that. Like that's great. but I'm thinking of teams that like I don't follow or cities I don't follow that I wish I did. And I'm thinking of like being like a Flyers fan or like being that crazy Philly fan.
Yeah.
Or like a Bills fan, like those crazy fan bases. Like
mafia,
that would be
being a part of the mafia.
like the mafia. Like that I think that would just be so cool to be a part of. Right. Like obviously I'm not, but like that would just I think those would be like being in the Flyers arena for a playoff game against Pittsburgh. Like how cool would that be? Like that would be awesome. Or like being a Bills fan right about now would be unreal. Yeah. I can tell you one sports city that I'm happy I'm not a part of, and that is the Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Boston. Those guys are psychos.
It's tough because like Toronto's great. I love Toronto.
I love Toronto too.
They are a great sports city.
Yeah.
Like there's like when I went to the ALDS in 2015 at Rogers Center, that atmosphere, man, was incredible.
Oh yeah. I definitely don't think I'd agree. Oh, sorry.
It's just tough to be like part of a fan base of a Toronto sports franchise because it's just like it is letdown after letdown.
It really is.
Up until the Raptors winning last year, like it was just like everything was just like, oh, we're finally in the playoffs again. Oh, we're a first round exit.
Yeah, that was really the first time in a while that I'm gonna say Canadian sports team in general actually didn't, let us down.
Yeah.
Like if you want to look at it, like you can look at the Maple Leafs, you can look at the Oilers, the Raptors, you can look at the Jays, you can look at the Oilers.
When was the last time? When was the last?
Jets? Like all across the major sports. It is like I hate to say it, but there's been a lot of letdowns in Canada.
Yeah.
Like Edmonton got McDavid their first year. They went to the first year back. They went to the playoffs, and everybody thought that they were going to be a cup contender, and then they've been in the shitter ever since. It's just a huge letdown.
I would love. So like for best cities, I mean Philly's a great sports city because all their arenas and stadiums are like on the same block. Like you can walk across the street from, I don't know like the names really of them, but like if I went to an Eagles game, you walk across the street and go to a Flyers game.
I forgot about the Eagles too. Holy shit. Yeah, that'd be a great
and then the Phillies Park is right there next to it.
Yeah.
So that's a great setup. That's a great city. The Philly fans, man, are ruthless. Like they boo their own players.
Exactly. That fan base is just that crazy that I would just love to be a part of that. Any fan base, really. Like the only one I really probably would want to be a part of is maybe the Sixers. But like any other team. Any other team in Philly, like I'd love to be a part of that fan base.
Yeah, 100%. So they're great. But I have to hand it to Boston, man. They're a great city too. I mean, they just have classic, like Fenway's a classic park.
Yeah. Foxborough's classic too.
TD Garden's like such a tough place to play for away opponents.
Yeah. I think honestly me saying I wouldn't want to be Boston is probably me just out of sheer jealousy.
It's the city of champions.
It really is the city of champions, and I mean, they've had so many dynasties.
Yeah.
That maybe that's just why I wouldn't want to be a part of it, but they are passionate fans. I'll give them that.
They're like the city where you come into like all 4 seasons, and you're like, all 4 of these teams could win a championship in the same year. Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox, and Pats. Like I'm sure that like coming into certain seasons, they could have all been kind of like a favorite to win that year.
Yeah, I wonder if we're ever going to see a possible year that happens. That would be insane. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be
city
nuts.
Sweep. That'd be quite a historic moment. But Pats are going to have to tank for Trevor to do that.
Yeah, I think they're going to be. I don't want to call it tanking for Trevor. I want to call it Staying competitive, missing the playoffs for Trevor.
Competitively losing for Trevor.
Staying relevant, but like still for Trevor. Here, letting the Bills win the division for Trevor.
Yeah, let the Bills win. Yeah.
So I guess
I'd say my final pick is Philly.
Philly? Oh, fuck you, dude. That's what my pick was going to be.
That's my number one is Philly.
Honestly, though, I'm kind of a homer, too, though. Like, I really like Toronto just as a city in general. And I would... That's like a place... So since you're going Philly, I'm going to go Toronto. Just because the atmosphere, no matter what sport you're watching, is like pretty special. Although Maple Leafs games are kind of quiet. I'm not meaning to call it you Leafs fans, but you guys are pretty quiet until shit starts going right for you.
Yeah,
they're not really.
That's a big reason why I can't pick Toronto, is because mainly because of Leaf fans and not because I hate Leaf fans, but I'm not big on Leaf fans. But like, if shit's not going well, they don't stick well beside their team. Like they're not very supportive.
Right. Same with the Jays, though. I will say that the park was empty last year.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's as bad as the Jays, because you look at any team in the MLB that's not doing well, there's not going to be a lot of fans at their arena. So I wouldn't say it's just the Jays. I would say like it's big on like the Maple Leafs. Like if they get like a 3-game losing streak, you know they're pointing fingers, right?
Right. Exactly.
And, like, that's the worst thing you can do is start to point fingers. So
trust your team's process.
Exactly.
And stay with the
process.
But, like, even...
Trust Kyle
Dubas. Yeah. But even, like, outside, like, I'm not talking just what they talk when they talk shit to, like, other fans and stuff. But I mean, like, if you watch a game on TV at... What's it now? Scotiabank Arena, I guess. It's pretty quiet for a franchise of their caliber. Yeah. It's it's quiet. It's a quiet place.
Yeah, it's definitely louder when the Raptors roll in.
Yeah, opposed to like a Raptors game where that's you got some really great fans there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why somewhere like Philly, you know, they're a rambunctious crowd. It doesn't matter if it's a Phillies, Flyers, or Eagles game, you know, you're going to get a rambunctious crowd. They just love their city and they love their sports teams. Exactly. And they're psychos and I love it. It's awesome. So yeah, I guess that's the topics for the day there. That's brought to you by nothing. Yeah, nothing. So we got some questions here, some viewer questions. This first one is submitted by J Morrison _3. And he wants to know if we think if soccer players are dramatic. I don't really want to offend any soccer players. We don't really touch on soccer. No, we don't really. I don't watch soccer. Like, I don't pay attention to it. No, neither do I. Like, I can sit down and watch a day of golf, but I cannot sit down and watch a 90-minute soccer game. What ruined it for me was, like, the World Cup. I forget what year it was. I remember I went down to Nice. Crazy. Yeah, I remember I went down to Nice with my dad and his buddies when the World Cup was going on. I think it was France against Croatia. I think that was the game. Like, we went down to Nice during the day to watch the game. And, I mean, that was entertaining. Like, I did like the World Cup. And I do like watching soccer highlights. Like, soccer live is great. I will give it that. Soccer highlights are awesome. Like, watching, like, you know, dribbles and some shots, like, I think are really awesome. Yeah. But, like, you can't sit me down to watch a full soccer game. No, me neither. No. I can't watch a whole game of 90 minutes and then it finishes 0-0. Like, come on. Yeah, that's just painful. And it takes like 30 minutes for you to get one shot on net. Like, fuck. Yeah, here's a rule change. If you reach the 89th minute and there's no score, each team gets one penalty shot each, so the fans can see fucking something. Or you could do like lacrosse and put a shot clock on.
Yeah, if you have possession, you have like a minute and a half to get a shot on net, or just a shot off.
That is a nice idea right there. I like that. But
enough of this passing in your own end for 10 minutes.
But do I think soccer players are dramatic? I think there are some.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put the label on soccer players.
You can't stereotype them all, because
no, I know there's some that are absolute animals and will fight through anything, but there are some that'll get bumped and act like they got shot, and that may be the biggest reason I don't like soccer. Also, I wouldn't say I don't like soccer, but I just not a big fan of watching it, because like I grew up in like a hockey house where it's like, you know, watching NHL players, like
it's a very physical game.
They might playing a physical game, and they might shatter a bone, and you know they keep playing through it, and like hearing of stories like Patrice Bergeron in their cup run playing with a punctured lung and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like I grew up on watching that, whereas I didn't grow up on watching soccer, so I'm not really. Whereas I'll watch a soccer game and someone will get body checked and I love it, and I'll hear, no, you can't do that. I'm like, well, fuck that sucks. So yeah, that's probably. It's probably the biggest reason, but I do think some soccer players can be dramatic, but I'm not going to put that label on all of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, you see it. I think it's some in a way it's okay to be like, to answer this question and say like, yeah, but that's just because you watch like highlights on TV and like they'll do like a top 10 on like Sports Center of like dramatic like flops, and it'll all just be soccer. And like I remember one video, I can't name any of the players or the teams or whatever, but a guy had like his arm out when he was arguing to the ref. Like he had his arms out wide, like what the fuck? And a player on the other team comes up, grabs his arm, and throws the guy's hand into his face, and then goes down like holding his face and stuff. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, like I've seen one where these two guys come together and they put like their nose to each other's nose. Yeah. And they're like forehead on forehead, and one guy like touches the other guy's chest and they both fall over.
Just goes down. Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that's
like
just
there
ridiculous.
I don't think I'd say like all soccer players are dramatic, but no. Soccer's also one of those things like when they get going like super fast, like when they're at a full sprint, they're probably
they're clipping.
One of, if not the fastest athletes in the world.
Oh, 100%.
So like, when you get going, like think like you're running as fast as you can, and then like you trip on like a tree branch or something, and you're not expecting it, and then you hit the ground hard, like your first reaction is going to be like, oh fuck, what did I just, break? But then there is like, you do see it in soccer a lot that they just stay on the ground forever, and then they get up and they just like, oh yeah, I'm fine. So like if you're fine, get up and keep playing. Don't sit there rolling around on the ground holding your knee that you didn't even hit, that's not even hurt. Like just get up and keep going. So I wouldn't say they're all dramatic, but I would say that like they sell it a lot more than a lot of other athletes would.
Yeah, and I mean you can even throw that to the NBA too.
I was just about to say you could throw some soccer flops into the NBA. Yeah,
I wouldn't just label it as soccer too. I would definitely, if you're gonna call soccer players dramatic, you might as well throw NBA players in there, and then you can even throw some MLB players in there, because there are some MLB players that are soft as baby shit.
There's a lot of flops, and then even if you want to touch on the NHL, some of the high sticks, the players are selling those. Like,
they sell some high sticks for sure, but like you'll see the guys like I imagine it hurts, but the guys that'll kind of like bounce into the padding wall out in the outfield, and then they'll roll around for a couple minutes like they're catching their breath, but it's just making it look way more dramatic than it actually is.
Right, yeah, no question.
Or you hear of a guy with a sore toe who takes 2 weeks off. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Turf toe's a bitch.
I remember there was one, it was Encarnacion, and he had a sore finger, and he was on the 3-week DL.
Yeah,
or something like that. And I was like, are you joking?
I know, it sounds so worse in like the injury reports too, like sore finger, but like then when you actually go to like try to throw a ball or something, it like actually
I imagine it hurt. It probably was like a finger sprain or something like that.
I think it was a sprained thumb. or something like that.
But I mean, like I said, I grew up in a house where it was hockey,
Right.
and like some football. So I grew up on watching athletes like play through, broken bones or like sprains and shit like that. So like when I hear something like a sore finger or like a stuff like that, like I'm just like, walk it off, like get back out there. Why are you being a little bitch? But obviously they're not being a little bitch, but that's just where my mind goes. So
there is,
I don't know if that answered.
There's a lot of athletes, not just soccer players. I think it's just more prominent in soccer that you see like more dramatic. I guess they're more dramatic about their reactions of a fall or making contact with the player. But it's also a sport where there's really usually not a whole lot of contact. Like in hockey, you're kind of expecting the contact. Same with basketball. Yeah. But like when it comes to soccer, there's not a whole lot of contact. Like you're not allowed to just go and like spear a guy or like tackle.
I wish you could. Fuck
yeah,
that'd
be entertaining.
If you could just lunge across center field and spear the opposing player, I would watch that. Yeah. I would sit down and watch. I'd be the biggest soccer fan in the world. Like, could you imagine just a bunch of psychos suplexing each other and spearing each other?
See, like that's so like you can't do that obviously in soccer. Like there's none of that. But like in the box and stuff, there's still like it's still physical once you get close to the net and that. But I think it's just like they don't have the mindset like I'm about to get plowed, I'm about to get smoked, and then they do, and they're like, oh fuck, even if they're not hurt, it's just like out of nowhere. But I do think like a lot of them selling an injury is very dramatic. I think it's more prominent in soccer is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. There's still a couple here that we can answer, a couple good ones. I like this one from Laura Fair 94. How many marshmallows can Hodgi boy fit in his mouth?
I'm interested in that one too, actually.
I mean, I think I could do some damage to a bag.
Whoa.
It depends what kind of marshmallows we talk. Are we talking like jumbos or like minis?
The big ones for sure.
The big ones, okay. They compact very well. So I'm trying to think if I kind of crunch them up, if I kind of like squeeze them in my hand and then throw them in the mouth. I think I could do some damage. How many marshmallows come in a bag like that? 15? Or more than that?
Dude, more than 15. Think like you're sitting like around a campfire. Someone pulls out a bag of marshmallows. There's probably like 30 in there. All
right. I think I could do over 20.
Jesus.
Maybe 15. Maybe 15. I got a big mouth.
Okay.
But I think I could do some damage on that.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is. I might be completely overjudging that, but I don't know. I think I could do some damage. I remember once back, I think this was back in junior high, Jason used to get these this big tub of like cheese balls. They were kind of like the cheesy puffs, but they were in like a ball.
Okay.
And I remember like it came in like this big ass plastic tub where
it was probably like
balls. It was like 200 in a tub. And I remember we sat there one day and Jay tried to put as many of these in his mouth as he possibly could. It got to the point where he was like legit drooling all over the place. Like his mouth was so stretched out.
Staining his white t-shirt orange.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, it was basically getting to the point where he was forcefully shoving them in his mouth. And it was so funny.
Oh, fuck. I do have one more question I want to answer. This one comes in from Greg_Mitchell17. How long could you guys survive together in a zombie apocalypse?
Dynamic duo. I'm gonna say not that long.
We would die, dude.
Yeah, I'm not a big guy. I'm not big on conflict. I hate conflict.
That wouldn't serve you well in a zombie apocalypse.
No, like I'm like in fight or flight.
You're taking off.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not big on conflicts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and also I think it'd just be easier just to say fuck it and like run myself into a very sharp object.
Be like, yo, zombie, come bite me.
Yeah,
Let's see what
exactly.
this is like.
All right, no, I don't want them to bite me. They're all gross and shit. I'd rather just, fucking end it myself and then let them take me over.
I think it would depend on like how like what kind of zombie apocalypse it would be, because like The Walking Dead, where it turns into like I don't want to spoil it if anyone's still watching that, but like not only do you have to like be cautious of zombies, but it's more like the bigger threats like other people. Yeah. If it gets like the point where it's crazy and like people are just like fighting and shit for like food and supplies and shit, like I don't think I'd last very long there either.
No, like if it turned into Walking Dead meets Mad Max,
yeah,
I am not lasting long.
but if it was just like you had to just camp out somewhere in a good spot and then like stock up on supplies and just like survive like literally just the zombies, assuming like the zombies are just like slow and don't have like I don't know like I don't know very high verticals and can like fuck you up like that and like can sprint, then you're fucked. Then you're fucked for sure.
Oh yeah, like if it turned into Call of Duty zombies.
Yeah, again, yeah, that's
not lasting long.
It depends. So it depends on the apocalypse. But if it was just like we had to camp out and survive, I think we do well. We could do all right. We could probably make it like a year.
Yeah, I think we'd do well. I think if we stuck together, compiled resources, all that stuff. Yeah, I think we could do well.
Yeah. I agree.
But
we do all right.
If there's any conflict, I'd be fucked. All right, then my last question comes from Luke. It's kind of a good question. I like this one. How would you go about reopening sports if that was your job?
Ooh. Oh, that's tough.
You know what? I'm actually going to say let's save that for next week. Okay. Because we're going to have some tough stuff to talk about sports reopening next week.
Yeah, because there has been a lot of conversations that are leading us into our next episode next week about sports coming back. So yeah, this would be a good one that we could touch on next week.
So we're going to save that for next week. So I'm going to go to a next question. Comes from Dylan O'Brien 13. He's a big Pats fan, and he says, "Why am I not on there talking about the Pats right now?" It's a great question, Dylan. Thank you. So what we were talking about earlier, me and my fellow co-host, maybe in certain situations like we just had, we're gonna get some of our friends who are passionate sports fans. Passionate sports fans. We're gonna get them to record them giving us their opinion of what they think about what just happened, whether it be the Gronk trade, the draft, all that stuff. We're gonna get them to maybe send us over a quick recording of them, and then we're gonna get our producer Will Harrington to work his magic, and we're gonna put it in on the show with us, so you can tell us all about what you think and how you're feeling. So I think that might be something we do down the road. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, it'd be nice to hear like exactly how the listeners are taking all the sports news. Yeah, especially in times like this on a draft. Like, I mean, I know you had your say on the Packers draft, and I know I'm just kind of like waiting kind of patiently as a Pats fan to see how all this kind of turns out. I know Belichick has his plans, but I think it'd be interesting to hear like everyone's take on kind of what's going on.
And I'd give everyone a change of scenery from listening to us just ramble on to maybe getting a new voice in there.
Listening to you, yeah, exactly.
So I think that might be the next play. So Dylan, if you have some passionate things, be sure to send us over your voice recording, and we'll enter it into the show and let you be a part of it.
All right, Hodgi. Well,
I think that is just about it.
I do want to add,
actually, sorry, I completely forgot. I almost forgot about this. Sorry to interrupt. I actually had a question just come in last minute.
Okay.
From old man Kerry Hodgson, father to this beauty. I take that back. Will, please edit that out. That was fucking terrible. But he said, yay or nay to having the designated hitter in the National League.
Ooh,
it's not a bad question.
Yeah, because oh man, with the way the game is going now, the game of baseball being played now, it's a lot more of an offensive game, and I think that fans now kind of like that a lot more, and I think the league in general likes it a lot more, to see more runs getting put up on the board. And I mean, the game's changing, you have like replays in there now, and it's a lot more timed. Like you have like your pitch clock and all that shit. So I kind of do like the idea of a DH being put in the National League, just because like, I mean, hitters or pitchers are, they don't work on their hitting really that often.
No.
They take the reps in the cage just to stay sharp because they know every fifth day when they're pitching, they're going to have to go in and hit. But, not like pitchers, I guess I would kind of like it better just because I don't want my pitcher going up and, there's like a guy on second with 2 outs and the pitcher comes up and like just swings through 3 fastballs right there and just misses them all.
Yeah.
And then, it eliminates like the clutch 2-out hits. And like it's cool when a pitcher does come in and provide like offensive support for his team, but you don't see it that often. Like usually a pitcher just comes up, it's like first and second, 1 out, first and second, 2 outs, and they're bunting the guys over, moving them along for, the guys who get paid to hit to drive them in. So they're not, if you're signing a pitcher, you're not really paying him to hit, and he's not working on his game to try and be an elite hitter. So I think, as far as an offensive standpoint, I kind of like the idea of just having a universal DH. So for the AL and NL, because then you get to like the World Series and the AL pitcher hasn't hit all year. Now he does. And, so I guess there's a little bit of an advantage there. Because I don't think there's any advantage for the AL team when the NL team has to throw in a DH.
No, I agree. I think it should be DH in both leagues.
Yeah.
Just makes more sense. Like, could you, and like if you think about it, like, what if Clayton Kershaw comes up to hit, and he catches a fastball inside on the elbow?
Yeah, that
could shatter his elbow, and then he's out for the season, right? Like that just could set him back. Or like, I know this probably wouldn't happen, but like, say you make a mistake and a pitcher comes up to hit with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th in the World Series. Well, he doesn't know how to hit,
right?
And then the pitcher's like, oh well, fuck, I got an easy out here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it should be DH across both leagues. Just makes more sense.
What I do like
just to not have a pitcher hit.
What I do like about a pitcher hitting is that if he like decides to bean a guy on the other team, rather than getting his teammate bean next half inning, he comes up to the plate. He's the one getting hit.
Exactly.
It would be like, it would spark a whole lot more fireworks within the game. But I do like the idea of having a universal DH. I think whatever the decision is, I think it should be the same for both the AL and the NL. So either pitchers are hitting in the AL and the NL, or the NL's implementing the DH.
Yeah, I think it should be DH across the whole league for sure.
Yeah, good.
But thanks for that question, Pops. You got anything else or what?
Well, that's, I guess, just to add on to, your usual outro here. If you'd like to help us out with some feedback, feel free to hop on Apple Podcasts, search us up and leave a review for us, whether it's just a review of stars or even write your own review and let us know what you think of it. That would actually, help out a lot. So, anyway, Hodgi, you can add into your regular outro here.
Yes, this has been another episode of Pylons with Opinions. Thank you to all of you guys for tuning in once again and listening to us ramble on for a little over an hour and a half. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at PylonsPod. That's where you can submit your questions. Also, if you're listening to us, just take 2 seconds out of your day. Just click subscribe. I know we checked our analytics the other day, and a lot of people that are listening aren't subscribed. So, just take 2 seconds out of your day, click subscribe. And if you want to go the extra mile, leave us a review. That helps us grow and reach a wider audience. So if you could do that, that would be very much appreciated by my co-host and I.
Well said.
Also, if you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, check out our last episode with Quebec Major Junior League superstar Christian Huntley. I don't want to toot our own horn too much, but I think we did a above average interview.
That was a great chat. And it was good to hear his perspective on his experiences through his 5 years in the league.
Exactly.
Both on and off the ice.
Absolutely. So if you haven't listened to that, go check it out. And reminder that it is staff parking only outside. All other violators will be towed. Have a fantastic week, everybody.